Hello, how are you doing? It's been a long time, but I am here today to give you another lesson of teaching English. Today, I've prepared a short story. What we're gonna do is we're gonna read this story together. There are three gaps along the script of the story. We're gonna try to fill in the gaps with the correct word. And at the end, I'm going to ask you some questions about the content of the story, what happened. And you will have some time to think before you answer those questions. The story I've prepared for you today is suitable for English learners of B1 level. I'm sure even if you are someone who's started learning English recently, with some care and attention, you're going to be able to understand what happens in this story. It's quite a simple story. Let's start reading the text together. When we come across a new word that you might not understand, I'll give an explanation to make it more clear, okay? Did I tell you about how my career started? I was given one of our team's most challenging accounts, a customer from Texas. Everyone in the office laughed when they heard about it. A coworker even told me, "Yeah, that contact is a pain in the butt. Don't expect much." Okay, so far from what we can understand from the first paragraph is there is an employee who's going to tell us the story of how he started his career at a company. We don't know what they do at the company. We don't know their work field. All we know is that employee was given one of the company's most challenging accounts. By account here, he meant a customer. Look at the second line of the first paragraph. I was given one of our team's most challenging accounts. Was given is a passive sentence. It means the manager or someone else at the company gave this customer to this employee. He was given one of the company's most challenging customers or clients. That challenging customer was from Texas, a southern state in the United States. Everyone in the office laughed when they heard about it. His co-workers laughed when they heard that that most challenging customer had been given to this new employee. He was new to the company. He didn't have much experience, but he was given one of the most challenging clients to deal with. That's why by everyone, he meant his co-workers laughed when they heard about this. One of his co-workers told him that contact is a pain in the butt. If something is a pain in the butt, it is difficult to handle. It can be frustrating to deal with, and it may not seem pleasant. Don't expect much, his coworker told him that he shouldn't be expecting much from that customer. By that, his coworker meant, he shouldn't be expecting much from that challenging client, meaning he's not going to place any order. He's gonna just keep asking questions, making inquiries, but when it comes to placing an order and making a payment, he cannot expect much from him. Let's move to the second paragraph. I got many requests from that customer contact, and I did everything I could to help him. I thought we would have a big order by the end of the month. But when the time came, he didn't order anything. The customer started to make annoying requests. He contacted the company, in particular this employee that had been given the responsibility to deal with the customer. The customer contacted him, and this employee thought he should help him as he would help any other customer. And he did that. He helped this customer a lot. He said, I did everything I could to help him. And he thought that by the end of the month, the customer was going to place a big order. But when the time came, when it was the end of the month, there was no order placed by the customer. Why did he say by the end of the month? Why didn't he say at the end of the month? Well, the answer is clear. We use the preposition by followed by a time to say that is the deadline we expect something to happen. Here, he expected the customer to place an order by the end of the month. It means he thought the customer could place an order in the middle of the month, earlier in the month, but the deadline was the end of the month. That was the latest time at which the employee expected the customer to place an order. But the deadline came and it passed, and there was no order from the customer. Let's turn into the next paragraph. At the beginning of the next paragraph, we have a gap that must be filled with one of these three words: eventually, so, when. Let's keep reading. Since I was in Texas, a place where people like their guns, I went to a toy shop and bought a toy gun with 6 plastic bullets. I gave the gun to the customer at our next meeting, and I explained what was going to happen. So what he did was he decided to buy a gun, but a toy gun, a plastic gun. Of all the things he could have bought, he chose to buy a gun because he was in Texas. The customer was in Texas too. And in Texas, as you might know, people like their guns. So he went to a toy shop and bought a toy gun with 6 plastic bullets. A bullet is that metal thing that you put in your gun, in the gun. You might not have a gun. A metal thing that people who have guns put in their guns, and then they shoot with it. Then at the next meeting he had with this challenging customer, he gave the plastic gun and all those 6 bullets to the customer. And he explained to the customer what the plan was, what was going to happen. What do you think is the right word to fill in the gap at the beginning of this paragraph? Eventually, so, or when? Well, the answer is so. So, since I was in Texas, a place where people like their guns, I went to a toy shop and bought 6 bullets. I gave the gun to the customer at our next meeting and I explained what was going to happen. Let's turn to the next paragraph. Here was my deal. In this paragraph, he's going to explain to the customer. In this case, he's explaining it to us because he explained it to the customer at their next meeting. Here, he's just telling us what happened in that meeting between him and the customer. Here was my deal. He could ask me for anything he needed from us. He refers to the client. Now it is the employee speaking, telling the story of the meeting between him and the client. The client, could ask me for anything he needed from us. In that meeting, he told the customer that he could ask him any questions, he could make any requests, and it was fine, no problem. But each time he asked, he had to give me one of those bullets. There were 6 bullets in total, handed over to the client at the meeting. He was asked to hand one of those plastic bullets, those 6 plastic bullets, back to the employee each time he made a request or he asked a question. Then we have a gap. I got all 6 bullets. I could ask for something in return. And you can probably guess what I wanted. So this was the plan. The client was now holding all the 6 bullets, and he could ask the company, in particular this employee, for anything he wanted. But this was the plan. Each time he made a request, he asked for something, he had to give back one of those 6 bullets to the employee. When the employee had got all of those 6 bullets back from the customer, he could ask the customer for something in return. And he says, you can probably guess what I wanted. I think what he wanted was he asked the customer to place an official order to pay money to the company. So, what is the right word to fill in the second gap? When I got all 6 bullets, I could ask for something in return. And you can probably guess what I wanted. The final sentence. The only word left to fill in the third gap is eventually. Eventually, he agreed, and we made one of the largest deals in our company history. That is all. Now I'm going to ask you some detailed questions about the content of the story. After each question. I'm going to give you a short time to answer it. Then I will give you the correct answer. The first question is, of all things the employee could have bought when he went to the toy shop, why did he choose to buy a gun and bullets? Now you have some time to think about the answer. Well, the answer is he chose to buy a gun because he was in Texas, a place where people like their guns. The second question is, at the beginning of our story, what made this guy's co-workers laugh? They laughed when they heard that the most challenging client of their company had been given to the newest employee to deal with. The third question. At the beginning, did the employee refuse to help this challenging customer? The answer is no. He said he got many requests from him and he did everything he could to help the customer. And the final question is a sort of personalized question. What would you do with that challenging customer if you were him, if you were the employee of that company? Would you follow the same trick? Would you think you could execute a plan like that properly? And in the place where you work, have you ever faced a challenging customer? If yes, how did you deal with them? You can use these questions to practice your speaking skills on your own. That's the whole idea of this personalized question at the end of our story. Okay, thank you for following me all along this learning session. Please give this video or podcast a thumbs up wherever you are watching or listening to it. And I'm gonna be back soon with another session of English practice. Until then, goodbye, have a nice day.